One. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very special Saturday episode of Full Metal Classic. I am your host, Cameron, the conductor Holzman. I've got a panel of 5 great guys here for a extra special Full Metal Quote Classic episode. The people asked, "Hey, Cameron, can you write a Full Metal Quotes random?" And I said, "No, I don't write for Full Metal Random, but I can write a Full Metal Classic that's all quotes." Because Malcolm had already been planning a quotes random and has been writing it for a while. So I did this. So you're getting all Cameron Holzman quotes questions for half an hour to 45 minutes, however long this match takes. So it's allowed to be the greatest or the worst show you've ever seen. We're going to find out. But before we do that, we're going to introduce our competitors, and we're going to start with the man to my right, Mr. Tony Heald. I learned how to point on StreamYard now. Tony, how's it going?
It's doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, you know. I haven't left my house in 2 days, but that's not because I'm self-quarantining from the coronavirus. It's because I have no real friends. Brian, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm hiding in my basement because my whole family's gonna be home with me for 2 weeks. Yay!
Gotta love that.
No school. Yay!
Oh
God.
love that for you. Beneath me, we have got Mr. Antonio, the assassin Chavez. Antonio, how you doing?
I'm all right. Just not really self-quarantining, but just trying to make use of Saturday all to myself.
Yeah.
Catching up on anything.
I mean, listen, as someone said to me yesterday on call, the fact that we have 2 weeks where we're stuck at home is kind of a great thing for movie fans and trivia studiers.
Right.
Next to him, we have Mr. Nick. Am I pointing? There we go. Nick, the name Tuig. Nicholas, how do you do?
I don't believe anyone asked for this, Cameron. I think you lied to us.
Nico Suave Regoli specifically asked for this.
Well,
Nico asked for a lot of things.
I'm going to do terribly, so.
That's totally fine. Hey, I said it was going to be quotes in the sign-up post, and you chose to put your name down anyways.
I may or may not have still been sleeping 15 minutes ago. So
and last but certainly not least, we have Dustin, the Duster Mason. Dustin, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired, but what do you do? Also, yeah, we got Bar in the chat saying, "Sup, nerds." Scott saying, "Hands down, this would be the longest ever classic," and Bar estimating that it will take about 3 hours. If they keep using repeats, it might.
Only in the long quotes category.
Only in the round 2 category of really long quotes.
Let's just make a deal. If the quote is more than 10 words, one of us automatically uses a repeat out of spite.
Most of the not even really short quotes are more than 10 words, Tony.
There you go. What
All right.
we signed up for.
Well, we are going to get into round number 1. Round number 1 is going to work like this: 8 questions in 8 different categories, but all of them are still movie quotes. If you get the question right, you get a point. If you get the question wrong, you don't. At the end of those 8 questions, whoever has the lowest score will be eliminated. You have 3 repeats to use throughout the match. Yeah, that's about it. I will tell you guys right now, unless otherwise specified, every question in this first round is going to just, or actually every question in this match except for one is going to be just, in what movie will you find the following quote? So you don't have to fill in the blank or anything. So I'll give you the category. I might just go straight into the quote. I might say in what movie. We'll find out. Any questions before we get going, though, guys? Nope. All right. Strap in. It's gonna be a bumpy night. That's not the quote. That's not the quote you need.
Oh, I knew that
you
one.
need to. All right. Your first question, as always, is in the category of animated. In what animated movie will you find the following quote? "Your mind is like water. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see. But when you let it settle, the answer becomes clear." Of course, the reason your mind is like water is because the coronavirus will turn your brain to liquid, as we all know. So prepare for that. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, and we will start with Tony
That sounds like Kung Fu Panda thing.
and Brian
That's what I thought. Kung Fu Panda.
and Antonio
That's what I also thought.
and Tuig
I, too, thought that.
and Dustin.
Kung Fu Panda.
All 5 are correct. It is Kung Fu Panda. That is Master Oogway. Your next question comes in the category of musicals. In what musical will you hear the quote, "Never fear, Brooklyn is here"? So basically, what musical is Brooklyn the Black Lantern Veil in? That's your answer. It's pretty easy, right? That's all you have to do. The answer is Multiplex Miscellaneous, the musical. 5,
Yeah. New British Empire, the musical.
3, ooh,
No one wants that.
2, 1, pens down, and we will go to Brian
Newsies.
and Antonio.
I even finished spelling it. Push Saturday Night Fever. I don't even know if that counts.
Nick,
I thought it'd be ironic if Brooklyn was in Chicago.
Dustin,
I put Grease.
and Tony.
I want Fame.
Brian is the only one to get it correct. It is Newsies, although I do like Nick's guess of Brooklyn being in Chicago. And Antonio, Saturday Night Fever is not a musical; it's a dance movie. I think Brian and I have had debates about what counts as a musical and what doesn't before. So,
No, I think I agree with you.
oh yeah, right. We agree. It's Cody that disagrees with
I
us.
think about that now.
All right. Your next question is the category of horror/thriller. In what horror thriller will you hear the quote, "It rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again"? When I was testing this, I immediately accidentally gave away the answer with my witty banter, so I'm not gonna do that this time. As funny as my witty banter was, we can't do that here. This is actual competition. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Antonio.
Silence of the Lambs.
Tuig.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Dustin.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Tony.
The Silence of the Lambs.
And Brian.
Sounds of the Lambs.
You gotta throw a softball in there in the first round, and that would be the one. While I was testing it, my witty banter was I immediately went, I was co-hosting with someone, I can't remember who, was just like, "So, have you ever skinned a woman alive?" And then I realized I immediately gave away the thing. Your next quote comes in the category of comedies. In what film will you find the following quote? Strap in, this is a longer one. So, okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America, but some people are all, what about the strain on our resources? But it's like, when I had this garden party for my father's birthday, right? I said RSVP because it was a sit-down dinner. But people came that, like, did not RSVP. So I was, like, totally bugging. I had to haul ass to the kitchen, redistribute the food, squish in extra place settings. But by the end of the day, it was like, the more the merrier. And so if the government could just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we could certainly party with the Haitians. And in conclusion, may I please remind you that it does not say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty.
Please no one
Now
use a
the
repeat.
timer starts.
Please no.
No one do a repeat on this.
I got places to be tonight. Come on.
I'll take the 0.
Fuck this movie, dude.
That's my favorite. Is half the time people want to use it on the long quotes, and the other half people just are like, "Kill me." 5, 4, 3,
Tony's still thinking about it.
2,
I can see him.
1. Tuig.
Repeat!
No,
No,
it's
too late.
Too late.
Okay, yeah.
Tuig. Dustin.
Clueless.
Tony.
I changed it last second. Clueless.
Brian.
Clueless.
And Antonio.
Damn, way off. Idiocracy.
The answer is Clueless. And for those watching at home saying, did he say Haitians? That's how she says it in the movie. It's not Haitians. So I had multiple people in testing be like, "What the hell, Cameron?" I'm like, "No, that's how it is in the film."
It's the people from hell. Hadians.
No. Category is drama. In what drama will you hear the quote, "The funny thing is, on the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook." Tuig going straight to the
What was the
board.
genre? I'm sorry.
Drama.
Okay.
Tuig going straight to the board, and I think I know why. People are paying enough attention. Tuig just gave the answer away.
Thank you,
5,
Turk.
4,
What do you mean?
3,
It's Chris Cooper.
2,
Shut up.
1. Pens down. Dustin.
Was it Shawshank Redemption?
Tony.
Shawshank Redemption.
Brian,
Shawshank Redemption.
Antonio,
I literally just saw this movie 12 hours ago, Shawshank Redemption.
and Tuig.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, no, for those who weren't paying attention, Tuig literally pointed to the Shawshank poster on his wall. I was like, if anyone's even looking at
No one was
Tuig-
looking. I made sure.
All right, your next category is action adventure. In what action adventure movie will you hear the following quote? "Excuse me, I have to go. Somewhere there is a crime happening." You know, sometimes you just say it like it is, with no inflection whatsoever. And that's the character, not me reading this. And that'll be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Tony,
RoboCop.
Brian,
I don't know. It's a Batman.
Antonio,
RoboCop.
Tuig,
Is it RoboCop? I totally get.
and Dustin.
I said The Rock.
It is RoboCop.
The original.
The original RoboCop. Excuse me, I have to go. Somewhere there is a crime happening. It's the most blunt, dull line, and I love it.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Next category is new releases. In what new release will you hear the following quote? "Today, you boys will be involved in such activities as marching, bayonet drills, grenade throwing, trench digging, map reading, gas defense, camouflage, ambush techniques, war games, firing guns, and blowing stuff up. The girls will practice important womanly duties such as dressing wounds, making beds, and learning how to get pregnant."
Okay.
I love this movie. I love this quote. There's a specific word in there that is delivered a very certain way, but I didn't want to give it because that might give too much away. 5,
Can you repeat that?
4. Yes.
Can I also get a clarification? How recent is recent releases?
Recent releases is anything. Recent releases could be any movie from 2019, basically, at this point.
Okay.
Today, you boys will be involved in such activities as marching, bayonet drills, grenade throwing, trench digging, map reading, gas defense, camouflage, ambush techniques, war games, firing guns, and blowing stuff up. The girls will practice important womanly duties such as dressing wounds, making beds, and learning how to get pregnant. And I will say it does have to be out at least on digital for it to be allowed to ask questions about.
Got it.
So it's not New Mutants.
No, it is not New Mutants. No. 5. This is actually a quote from The Invisible Man. 4, 3,
That's hilarious, that movie.
2, 1. Pens down. I think I'm going to Brian first,
Jojo Rabbit.
and Antonio,
I still haven't seen it, but Jojo Rabbit.
and Tuig,
I also still haven't seen it. Jojo Rabbit.
and Dustin,
I did say I don't like it. Jojo Rabbit.
and Tony.
Favorite film last year? Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, the pronunciation that might have given a bit of a hint is he says blowing stuff up.
This is cool.
Good. Sam Rockwell's great. And your final question is in the category of romance. In what romance film will you hear the quote, "If you're a bird, I'm a bird"?
Okay. I think I know this.
This is a very, very close match right now.
I'm doing
We're almost definitely going to the tiebreakers, and I will say the tiebreakers, they're different to this match. 5, 4,
I'll use another repeat.
3, 2. Using
Sorry, I don't know.
Tuig's got one left. In what romance film will you hear the quote, "If you're a bird, I'm a bird"? No, Andrew James Barr is not Cats.
It's not on digital quite yet.
As much as I would love that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Antonio.
The Notebook.
Tuig.
Please tell me it's The Notebook.
Brian.
I like watching Nick after someone else answers. He gets all excited. The Notebook.
Sorry, I went fully out of order. Dustin.
Moonrise Kingdom.
And Tony.
Notebook.
The Notebook is the correct answer.
I guessed my way.
So,
through this
at
round.
the end of round one, this is actually a very good scoring match. Currently tied for first place with 7 apiece, we have Tony and Brian.
How?
We then have Antonio and Tuig both at 6. And unfortunately, with only 5 points, we will be saying goodbye to Dustin. Dustin, thanks for coming out. Thanks for playing. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to send you away. Take care, brother.
Yep.
All
Let
right.
me stop.
Wow, this is a high-scoring match, despite the fact that I thought this could be the hardest one we've ever had. But all right. Round number 2 is going to work like this. I'm going to pull up a lovely wheel. And we're going to have people pick numbers. The player in the lead, or in this case, players, are going to get to pick 2 numbers apiece. The other players are going to get to pick 1 number apiece. We are then going to spin the wheel. If your number comes up, you get to pick which category we play. But there's going to be 1 number that no one picks, and that number corresponds to the secret category. Ooh, it's still a quotes category, but it's secret this time. Wow. Now, if the secret category comes up on the wheel, each question is worth only 1 point, the same way that it is in any of the other categories. But if your number gets chosen and you pick to play the secret category, then the questions will be worth 2 points. So, Brian, give me 1 number between 1 and 7.
1.
Tony, give me 2 numbers between 1 and 7.
2 and 3.
Brian, give me another number.
7.
I was really hoping you were just going to keep the counting going on. I will go Antonio. Give me 1 number.
5.
And Tuig, do you want 4 or 6?
6.
6. Which means 4 is our magic number today. Let her rip. Beyblade. And that is going to be 7. So, Brian Michaels, you are going to get to pick today's categories. I have read them to y'all off screen, but I will read them out for today's viewers. You can pick between opening lines, closing lines, really long quotes, really short quotes, movie insults, or if you don't like any of those, you can pick the secret category.
Let's go for... screw it. Let's go secret.
Oh,
Secret.
All right.
All right, gentlemen. Your secret category is a category known as word. These are famous one-word quotes from film. Yeah, it's going to be one of those days. In what film will you notably hear the quote, Stella? See, I think it's going to be that hard, but also, like, there's not a ton of notable one-word quotes, so I kind of...
That was the example I thought of when you said 1-word quotes.
There you go. Well, there's 3 more, so...
But I think you might be wrong. We'll find out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We all know the answer to how Stella got her groove back, but Tony can answer anyways. Tony
I still got a groove back now. Trick on the inside.
and Brian
Also in the musical Oh Streetcar, but Streetcar Named Desire.
and Antonio
I picked the wrong damn Marlon Brando movie. I picked On the Waterfront.
and Nick.
I said something else.
Alrighty then. All right, your next question comes in the category of word, and your word is. And I will say, I'm going to say the word, and then I'm going to immediately clarify that I'm not looking for a different movie, because people point out to me there's technically a second one, but I'm looking for the one that originated this quote. Okay, so the word is plastics, and I'm not looking for Mean Girls. Because I tested this with Coho and Boatman, and Coho went, it's Mean Girls, and I'm like, no, shut up.
Well, you know, they talk about the plastics. It's not a one-word quote.
Yeah, it's like they say the plastics and all that, but like I just saw the movie in the theater. I would know this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Brian.
The Graduate.
Tony.
Me, I went They Live. I just random shot in the dark.
Antonio.
I went Heather's.
And Nick.
The Graduate.
That is correct.
Damn.
Your next word. Attica. And it has been pointed out to me, technically this one word is said multiple times, but it's still just one word and it counts.
Thank you. I was just about to ask.
I was thinking the same thing.
It was hard to find several questions. But I picked the category and I committed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Antonio.
Is it Cool Hand Luke?
Tuig.
So 100%, this is what I wrote for the first question. Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh my god.
Brian.
Dog Day Afternoon.
And Tony.
Oh, day afternoon.
I didn't know that.
Dog Day Afternoon is the correct answer. And your final one-word quote. I'm assuming everyone's going to get this, but we're going to do it anyway. Inconceivable. And of course, we all know that what I
I
did
think
there is
Andrew Barr wouldn't get it.
it's a perfect impression of the character. I do not accept critiques or criticism on my impressions whatsoever. Because I'm the host and you're not. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Tuig.
The Princess Bride.
And Brian.
Princess Bride.
And Tony.
Princess Bride.
And Antonio.
Princess Bride.
Yeah, I had a feeling everyone would get that one. Again, I was running out of questions and I couldn't make them very hard. With that, so at the end of that, getting all 4 questions correct, we have Brian in the lead with 15 points, followed by Tony with 13, Nick with 12, and unfortunately with only 8 points, we will be saying goodbye to Antonio. Antonio, thanks for coming, but I'm going to have to take you away. Take care, brother.
All right, later.
Andrew James Barr saying, "It's Rudy." Fun fact, one of the really long quotes was from Rudy, but you're not going to get to hear that. All right, round number 3 is going to work like this. 5 questions, 5 different categories, but those categories are all still quotes as well. If you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you don't get a point. We go until either all 5 questions have been asked or one player has mathematically eliminated everyone else. Tony and Brian, you still have all 3 repeats left. Tuig, you have 1. Any questions, gentlemen?
Nope.
Also, Andrew pointing out 15 is the current points record, so if Brian does well enough in this round,
No pressure, Andrew.
things could change. So, gentlemen, your first question. What Best Picture winning film contains the quote, "I don't want to survive, I want to live"?
Best Picture winning?
Best Picture winning film, yeah.
You sure you don't mean nominated?
I'm sure. 4,
Okay.
3, 2.
How many is a repeat?
That is Brian's first repeat. In what Best Picture winning film will you hear the quote, "I don't want to survive, I want to live"? I'm just trying to figure out what film Tuig is thinking of. Or maybe he's thinking of the right answer and just isn't aware that it won.
I'm very aware that it didn't win.
Okay, then. And we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Brian, pens down.
It's not the right answer anyway. So.
Tony
I want Ben-Hur.
and Tuig.
It's said in this movie. Oh.
And Brian.
Movie 43.
That is incorrect. We were looking for 12 Years a Slave.
Ah.
It's said in Up. Up was nominated. That's why I had all these questions.
12 Years a Slave famously stole the script of Up.
Yeah. Your next question comes in the category of romance, but still quotes. In what romance film will you hear the quote, "I wish I knew how to quit you"? This movie is brilliant, and I will save the rest of my opinions for later, because if I say anything else, it would probably give away what the film is. There's a great rant about this movie, though. We're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2.
Repeat.
I had a feeling Tony was going to repeat from the grunt. In what romance film will you hear the quote, "I wish I knew how to quit you"? Andrew, of course, getting the correct answer in the chat. It is Birdemic Shock and Terror, as we all know. The most romantic film ever made. And we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Tony. Nick.
When Harry Met Sally.
Brian.
Brokeback Mountain.
And Tony.
Damn it.
That's right.
Yeah, it is Brokeback Mountain. There's a great rant from Dan Murrell about why it should not just be called the gay cowboy movie, and it's the greatest thing ever. Brokeback Mountain should have beaten Crash for Best Picture, and I will never stop yelling about it. All right, we've got Brian at 15, Tony at 11, and Nick at 10. Everyone is still in it. Which of these questions do I want? I'm going to go with this question because this very well could be the last chance I have to ask it. Prepare. This very well may be the hardest question I have ever written for a Full Metal Classic match.
Great.
What animated movie villain says the following quote? So I'm looking for the character, not the film. "I pitted them against each other, but not until they set aside their differences did I see true power they all share deep inside. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are."
Sounds familiar.
Every time I read this quote, people go, "I've heard this, but have no clue where it's from."
So we're looking for the character, not the
We're looking
movie.
for the character, yes.
If I squint hard enough, I might be able to think about
Tony,
it.
use a repeat. I'm running low.
Yeah, go on then. Repeat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love the negotiation here. What animated movie villain says the following quote? "I pitted them against each other, but not until they set aside their differences did I see the true power they all share deep inside. I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are." And we're going to go 5, 4, 3,
Might be a bad guess.
1. Pens down. Tony.
Hades?
Brian.
I didn't even have an answer.
Tuig.
Similar thinking. Is it from the Prince of Egypt? Is it God?
God is not the villain of that movie.
He makes a,
He
whatever.
does a lot of bad things to the Egyptians.
Whatever.
The Egyptians are the bad guys.
You're right.
The
2 wrongs
answer
don't make it right.
is Mewtwo from Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo
Oh.
Strikes Back. Yes, it was theatrically released. I saw that eye roll, Brian. Don't hate on me like that. I don't need that.
No, that was an eye roll of I don't feel bad because there's no way I would have known it.
Okay.
I was afraid it was gonna be like something I knew.
Like I said, probably the hardest question I've ever written in Classic. 2 questions left, gentlemen. Your penultimate question. In what classic film will you hear the quote, "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow"? I will say at this point, Tuig has been mathematically eliminated, but you
That's
can
okay, I
still
wanna
play along
play.
if you want. If Tony gets both of these and Brian misses both of these, then Tony wins any other combination of things, and Brian will win.
This is the first time that
And
someone's like, I
Brian
can
will also
technically
tie
beat
the
Brian.
points record if he gets this question correct. 5, 4, 3.
Repeat, just gonna need time to write.
Had a feeling. In what classic film will you hear the quote, "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow."
I've just got the Pitbull song stuck in my head now.
Is Steve a person?
Or
Is
Stephen-
anyone?
It's a good point.
Also, a lot of people thought that last quote was from Hercules. And people were saying Zeus. Zeus is not the villain in Hercules. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Tuig, we'll go to you first.
The answer is Boogie Nights.
Doesn't count as a classic, but I like the effort. Tony
My Sex Life? Oh, Some Like It Hot. I don't know.
and Brian.
I think I have the wrong Bogart film, Casablanca.
And your winner, Brian, the MacGuffin. Michaels, the answer is To Have and Have
I wrote
Not.
that down the first time. God damn it.
It is To Have and Have Not. Brian missing out on tying the points record with that.
Thanks, Andrew.
Still finishing with a score of 13 points. That is very impressive, especially considering that it was in this match. Brian, how do you feel?
I'm mad that I missed the points record. I'm mad that I wrote the right answer and then crossed it out. But no, I had fun. I hope that you do more themed classic episodes because these are fun.
That's it? All right, cool. Tony, you came in second place.
I know, second place.
Points only.
I found the secret category, apparently, that I'm good
Yeah,
at.
there you go.
I know. Back to second place for me in your matches. This feels very comfortable.
Familiar.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Dear God. I'm just happy there was no question about fucking wizards this time.
Hey, listen.
Oh yeah,
Listen.
I remember that.
That was the first ever classic match I ran. If I'm not mistaken, the man below me, Mr. Tuig, won that
Yeah.
match.
I did.
And we'll go to Tuig next. Tuig, you got third place.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering that we came into this and when I said it's quotes, you went shit.
Well, I guessed 4 questions right in round 1, so I shouldn't have even gotten this far. But I'll take it.
Yeah, that's fair. My one regret here is that we did not get to test my play my special quotes tiebreakers, which I guess the audience will never get to know what they are now. But with that being said, thank you everyone for joining us for a absolutely crazy, ridiculous episode of Full Metal Classic. I have been your host, Cameron, the conductor Holzman, and on behalf of Brian, Tony, Nick, Antonio, and Dustin, thank you everybody for watching. And this one